You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. Bit of Kenny Rogers. A lot of new equipment here. So I'm using a new PC, a new laptop that I had to purchase because of various things that were going wrong last week. The laptop was basically wiped, so I'm using a new one. I think it'll be alright, so we'll just we'll crack right on anyway. We'll get on with it. How you doing, by the way? Good morning. It's the 25th of November. How you doing, Jazz? Get in there, girl. Get in there. I wonder, can I show you, Jazz? Because I've got a much smaller laptop now. Oh, she's just pissed off right there. There's no chance of that. Hey, good morning to PB Awake, who's in University Hospital in Durham with a broken leg. Sorry to hear that, pal. Thanks for watching this. And if you are really in University Hospital Durham, I hope you've got your earphones in and you're not listening to it through your computer speakers, because I promise to give grave offence in the next 35 or 40 minutes. Yeah, we're going to look at the papers. That's what we do. Nobody has a sense of humour anymore. I got a couple of emails yesterday. A couple of them were very, very rude. And one of them was really rude, but also kind of heartfelt. It was from a gay man living in... where was he living again? No, not Devon. Might have been Devon. I should bring the email up. But it's a gay chap called Charlie. Properly pissed off at some of the things I said on Sunday View yesterday. You've got to grow a sense of humour. Of course I don't mean that stuff when I'm banging on about the gays and the lesbians and the boys and the transes having Canal Street in Manchester. It's a joke. It is one of the nicer places in Manchester, Canal Street, but it was co-opted many years ago by gay bars and restaurants and nightclubs, and it plays host to one of Europe's biggest pride events. And I was just joking. It was in reference to a story that was in the news. Jesus Christ, calm down. Look at the state of me. I'm in no position to be casting aspersions on anybody else's moral character or criticising anybody else's sexuality. I was just having a joke. And to be honest, I'm terrified of the gays. You know, if it comes down to an apocalyptic final days battle between the straights and the gays are going to win. The gays will win. And we know why the gays will win. It's very fucking simple. Because the gays are fit. Because the gays can run from A to fucking B without collapsing from exhaustion. Because the gays go to gyms. The gays. I know John Rorty is on. How you doing, John? John's a gay man, lives in New York, and is a big supporter of the independent media. Look, if you've listened to me long enough over the years, you'll know that I talk a lot of bollocks, but I don't have a prejudicial bone in my body for anybody. I really don't. Anyway, the gays. As a fact, if it comes down to the straights against the gays, at the end of times, we're fucked. Not literally. But anyway, right, let's jump into the newspapers. Yeah. Oh, heads up, a little bit of radio show information. I've got an engagement this evening. Don't panic. I'm going to be on air a little bit earlier today on the radio show, so make a note of this mentally. I'll be on at 4 o'clock today for at least 90 minutes till at least 5:30. 4 o'clock the radio show starts today because I've got to be somewhere later on, right? So keep that in mind. I'll put a Twitter thing out there, and I'm sure Rog will put something on Facebook for me as well. So the radio show 4 o'clock today. Did you get that? Did you? 4 o'clock today. I'm learning from Rebecca Long Bailey. That's how you should speak if you want people to pay attention to you. Just open your mouth really wide like that and say things like this. So I'll be on at 4 o'clock today. 4 o'clock the radio show today. I don't know what's going on. Right. Thanks to Paul Burchell for the super chat. Thanks, Paul. Lovely to meet you, pal. Not to meet you, I know Paul. Lovely to see you this morning. Thank you. Right, let's get into the Metro before I talk myself into any more trouble. I've given somebody some idea now for a script for a movie. Post-apocalyptic battle. Pre-apocalyptic. Apocalyptic battle between the gays and the straights. Get into the gym, lads, I'm telling you. Right, here we go. The Metro. I'm struggling now because my screen is much smaller. I've got a sexy new little laptop and it's about this size. And the one I was using was like this size. And my eyesight is bad anyway. I desperately need to go back to the eye mongers. The eye mongers. To get a new pair of glasses. So I'm constantly fiddling around with this. Stakes have never been higher. Now, you're going to get a lot of election coverage over the next couple of weeks. I think the election is a fortnight on Thursday. Is it? Is it? The 12th of December. Does that fall a fortnight next Thursday? It might do. Boris Johnson revealed the Conservative Party manifesto yesterday and lied through his teeth for the best part of an hour and managed to keep a straight face. They're getting hammered this morning, are the Tories, over a promise to find and to recruit 50,000 nurses. It's a pack of lies. But anyway, does it matter? No, because they're all liars, you see. Once you understand that, you're halfway there. Here's the Daily Telegraph. The stakes have never been higher. So obviously that's a direct quotation from the Prime Minister Boris Johnson yesterday when he launched his manifesto. I didn't watch a second of it. I had a little bit of it on this morning. I was watching the foosball yesterday, relaxing at home, watching the foosball with a bit of country music on in the background, hence the Kenny Rogers introduction. So the stakes have never been higher. Telegraph. Lovely. Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Look at that, look. There's mistake number one. All right. We should run a book on when the mistakes are going to be made. Here's The Guardian. Johnson stakes just £2.9 billion in public spending gamble. One of the things being suggested this morning is, now that both parties have released their manifestos, both parties, the two parties, the Tories and the Labour Party, the only two parties which can credibly hope to form the next government, right? And their spending plans are out in the open now. And apparently, Labour has pledged to spend £28 to every £1 pledged by the Conservative Party. So the Conservative Party spin doctors are making hay while the sun shines this morning. They're saying, well, this is brilliant. This is proof that mad Corbyn, the mad borrower, the mad spender, tax and spend, they're going to spend 28 quid for every £1 that we spend. That's The Guardian this morning. Yeah, I could do this really, couldn't I? I could. Revealed China's vast camps for minorities. There's also in The Guardian too. I had a cursory look at that this morning. Look at this. Look, I've done it again. Look. Mother of Jesus, huh? Beat Jesus. New laptop, so the keys are in different places on the screen, on the keypad. Yeah, there you go. So I'm having to practice as I go along. Shut up about it. Here's the eye paper. Johnson sets out health and safety manifesto, does he? That's on the front page of the eye paper today. A little picture there of Ghislaine Maxwell and Andrew. Lots and lots in the Sunday Mail. Did you read the Sunday Mail yesterday after I advised you to? Because you can read it for free if you can get past the 70,000 ads that pop up when you're trying to fucking read it. Doesn't that drive you mad? You're on the dailymail.co.uk, you're on a story, you're trying to scroll down, next thing bang, 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 ads for Viagra, ads for undercrackers, ads for everything, ads for Christmas products, and it inhibits your ability to move the page up and down. But 'tis free. Is anything in life ever really free though, eh? If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, did it make a sound? Here's the Financial Times then. Johnson presents post-Brexit vision in low-risk pitch to voters. Yeah, the Telegraph have gone with that as well, that it's a very safe and sound Conservative manifesto, unlike the madness of the Theresa May manifesto in 2017, the conspiracy manifesto. Do you remember the very anti-Tory manifesto that was produced by Theresa May just before the 2017 election? The one that was the most un-Tory, anti-Tory, completely not Tory manifesto, pledging to rob people in their old age. Timely that, wasn't it? Just after the country had voted to leave the European Union. I know what's going on. That's the Financial Times. I nearly pressed the stop streaming button there by accident. That would be stupid. Here's the Express then. Boris pledges 50,000 extra nurses. Yes, lying through his teeth. There's mistake number 3 right there. You fucking idiot, you big baldy gammon. Here you are. It's a lie. That's all I'm saying. You'll figure it out for yourself later on. I'm not going to get into it. Oh. Hang on. Fucking thing. I'll get used to it eventually. Let's have a look at the sun. You've got a place in the sun. You've got a place in the sun. Merry Brexmas and happy blue year. End austerity, says the Tories. Does anybody believe that? How could he say that with a straight face? His government and the coalition government from 2010 to 2015, they murdered tens of thousands of the poorest people in this country. They did. Murderers. Honestly, that's not... I'm not saying that for effect or to shock or to virtue signal or to score points with my viewers. They murdered people. People with disabilities. People who can't work. People who desperately need state assistance. Genuine people. People in dire circumstances. They murdered them. And they're talking about ending austerity. Yeah. I almost wish Corbyn would win, you know, even though I fucking can't stand him either. Yeah. There's the Times. Johnson places NHS at heart of critical election. Indeed. I've got every door open here now, so you'll probably hear noises. And herself is working from home today, you know. It's great to have a supervisory role in a corporation, isn't it? You can work from home when you want. It annoys the bejesus out of me, to be honest. But anyway. Here's the Mirror. Andrew's accuser will talk to FBI. This woman has accused the Duke of York of groping her. And is going to talk to the FBI about that. Another royal exclusive. That's according to the Daily Mirror. Shocking that Amanda Phillips, isn't it? The editor of the Daily Mirror being kicked off the Conservative Party campaign bus. Absolutely outrageous. Very little in the newspapers about that today. Journalists, again, you know, failing to stand up for one another, you know. That's in the Mirror. What about the Star? And then that's the last one we'll do. Car nut Jezza, now I'm a crusty. What does that mean? Well, look at this. That's mistake number 5. It means that Jeremy Clarkson, famous, of course, for being one of the presenters of Top Gear. Look at the shine on my big baldy buns. That's a bit better, isn't it? I'm right under the light here. He's now accepted that climate change is real. He was on a trip somewhere, and evidence was presented to him that it's a genuine thing. There you are. It isn't, of course, but anyway, that doesn't matter, does it? Let me read a few comments there before we look inside the papers. Let me bring myself back in. That shine on my big dome is fucking annoying, isn't it? Almost makes me look angelic. It's like the Lord is beaming his countenance. Yeah, what will I do? Will I turn it off? If I turn it off, it'll be too dark. That's the problem. Told you this is cheap shit. Right, good morning to Richard Murray. How you doing, Richard? Good morning to Kevin. You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. 3 hungry children, no crops in the field. That's the one. Had a bit of that on yesterday. I got a nice little compilation, a little vinyl compilation of country greats, and I was spinning it yesterday. Bruce says on the chat, instead of not voting, write none of the above on the form and post the slip. Imagine what would happen if 80% of people did this. Chaos. Bruce, you were nearly there. Don't fucking show up. Why would you show up? Gabe tweets, they're going to tax us for the weather if they get away with this climate change hoax. You are absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Good morning to Wide Awake Radio. How you doing, pal? Good to talk to you. Forget the election, Richie, and their game show hosts. Wilder versus Tyson Fury in February 2020. That's where it's at. I think before that we've got a big fight on December 7th, don't we? In Saudi Arabia. How sickening is that, eh? Absolutely sick, but we won't get into that today. Yasmin says it's terrible what's happening with Julian Assange. Someone should free him, she says. The reason why his image, Julian's, was chosen is because a couple of newspapers have gone with a story which we'll talk about briefly in a second, and that is that a group of doctors are gravely concerned about the man's health and believe that he might be dying. I don't think they are exaggerating. I think they might very well be right. Of course, he shouldn't be in Belmarsh. I agree with that. Josh says, I'm against gay pride and gay neighbourhood, says Josh. All right, Josh. Charlie says the gays don't breed, so surely they lose in the end. Well, if in that post-apocalyptic battle, the gays get rid of the straights and then humanity just disappears. And John says, Richie, I am fierce. That's John in New York. How you doing, John? I don't mess with any gays, I'm telling you. Not getting involved. Too fit. Natalie says, earphones for sure, blocking out the shit at work. Good morning, all. Good morning, Natalie. By the way, I tweeted, I didn't tweet, I put a comment on the YouTube edition of yesterday's Sunday View, just to demonstrate how comments are being blocked. Yesterday's edition of Sunday View, if you believe YouTube or Google, has been watched by 3.1 thousand people. That's the YouTube edition of it. Now, I know it's far more than 3.1 thousand, but that doesn't matter. I'm not bigging myself up. There are 36 comments. Are we to believe that a video, if we believe Google, if we take it at face value, a video that has been watched by 3.1 thousand people, where some very strong opinions have been expressed by me, are we to believe that only 36 people commented? The answer is no. They're hiding the comments all the time because of the things that you are saying. You're not saying bad things. You're not saying hateful things. You are expressing your opinion, but it doesn't want that. So you cannot believe that 36 comments were left on a video that's been seen by 3.1 thousand people. It's a joke. But I don't want you thinking that myself, and it certainly is not me, I'm never on YouTube, apart from now, and apart from when I do the upload after the radio show, I'm not on it. Raj is, and Raj doesn't give a rat's arse what anybody says. He's certainly not deleting any comments. I know he isn't, because I'm the channel owner. Raj is a moderator. I know what he's doing. I can see it. And if he was deleting people or hiding their comments, I'd kick 9 kinds of horse's shit out of him. Physically. I'd knock bells out of him. And he knows that. Even though he's halfway across the world, a fucker. I'd have to get a plane. Right. Good morning. The newspaper live stream. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Thanks for them, by the way. It's pissing down in Telford, says Jason Williamson. It's miserable. I'm going to get soaked on my run, but I don't mind. Nothing wrong with getting soaked every now and then. Our mothers and our grandmothers were telling us lies when they said to us, weren't they? You'll get pneumonia. What a lie that is. You get soaked into the skin, you'll get pneumonia. A load of bollocks. By that logic, you get pneumonia every time you get out of the shower, you know. Fucking ridiculous. Hi to Stuart Batty. We need more makeup on the baldy gammon head. More time in the chair is needed. Yeah, absolutely. Charlie says it turns out it was Greta's great-granddad that came up with the CO2 scam in the first place. Then it was jumped on by the Club of Rome back in the 50s. I've seen this funny little conspiracy theory that Greta's granddad was involved. Was he? Maybe he was, I don't know. Okay. So there's a lot of concern being expressed this morning about the health and the well-being of Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks journalist co-founder. And a number of doctors have tried to evaluate him as best as they can through, vicariously through people who have gone to see Julian, through the television evidence of him coming in and out of court, through his court appearance, and they are convinced that his health is very, very poor at the moment. That's not good, of course. Julian Assange should not be in prison. The Swedes have dropped the very dubious investigation into, the allegations that he sexually assaulted a woman there. Although they claim it's not because there's no evidence. They're just saying that too much time has passed. Forensically now it's very difficult to make a case. That's what they're saying. I've got to be very careful here, and I don't self-censor. Sexual abuse and rape is a shocking thing, and of course it is a massive thing. So I know that women watch things like this very carefully when guys like me say, oh, I believe him. Well, why would you believe him and not her? It's a very good question. I think with him, the circumstances of it, the timing of it, would lead me to be very suspicious about it. The Americans want to get him into the United States of America, to lock him down in a federal facility for the rest of his life. Why do the Americans want to do that? Well, it's obvious. And you are too far advanced now in your own research to need me, this ignorant baldy Irish gammon bollocks, to tell you. Because they basically want to show every other journalist who might receive, as he did, by the way, he received information that was in the public interest and he published it. That is what he did. I've never particularly liked him personally, and I've said this many times. And I got into an argument on television when I was in London with his mate Christian Hrafsnan. I got into a big argument about narcissism, about him being the story and all of that. I don't like that sort of thing, but he did some good stuff, and I think they just want to get him into the lockdown and say to everybody, this is what happens if you publish stuff that embarrasses us. We'll find you, we'll get you over here, and we will fucking bury you. That's what's been going on. And I think those doctors are right. It's torture, what's happening to Assange. Absolute torture. He's no risk to the public. He represents no risk, in terms of safety risk to me and to you. He shouldn't be in fucking prison. End of story. It's disgusting that this country is even considering the request of extradition by the United States of America. Fuckers. And I've told you before on some of these programs, there is a huge disparity between the requirements, the extradition requirements. We have an extradition treaty with the United States, but it's very lopsided, right? If we want to extradite a citizen of the United States because we believe they've committed crimes here, we've got to give the US authorities everything we fucking have so that they can forensically examine it. It takes forever, but it doesn't work the same way the other way around. If they want to extradite a citizen to the United States, we don't have to give them anything. Now, I've given you a very basic summary of that, but look it up if you don't believe me. This fucking country is wretched, this UK. Wretched country. Wretched. And I blame the gays. I blame the gays. It's not the fucking fault of the gays. It's unbelievable, isn't it? The US says, we want that fucking guy Richie Allen. Now, I'm Irish, so it wouldn't work for me. But we want my mate Paul Ripley. We want Hayden Hewitt. All right, do you? Why? Well, because he did this. And we say, all right, well, we'll have a hearing. Okay, it's not as fucking bad as that, but it's just about as bad as that. And we've got to give them all sorts of information before they'll even consider it. Anyway. Right. Yes, my heart goes out to Julian Assange and to his mother, the people who worked with him, and everybody else who's got some vital information that the public needs to know. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Let's do a little bit of US news. What do you reckon to Michael Bloomberg throwing his hat into the ring there, eh? This is fucking... When will people wake up? When will people wake up? How could you credibly make an argument that you live in a democracy when you get to choose between a bunch of fucking billionaires or multimillionaires? How could you imagine that you live in a democracy when Michael fucking Bloomberg is promising this coming week to spend 37 million fucking pounds on an advertising blast across the South and across the Midwest? What's democratic about that? What's democratic about getting to choose between a couple of billionaires to rule over you for the next 4 years? It's a democracy. There's nothing democratic about it. It's disgusting. Of course, there's a huge ethical issue here, isn't there? Not despite the fact that he's worth over $80 billion. Is that he's a massive media fucking magnate. And he's going to run for president. And what are his media companies and subsidiaries going to do? Well, funnily enough, they're making empty promises over the weekend saying that they wouldn't be investigating his Democratic rivals. Fucking disgusting, isn't it? But we live in a democracy. You fucking morons. No, you don't. No more than we do. Martin Ellen, good morning, Martin. Martin is an old soldier. He never misses a live stream. How you doing, Martin? Martin believes that Hillary will make a late run. She might do, mate. She's categorically said she won't. But I hear you. Hi to Jennifer Garcia in Florida. Richie, politics in America is a crazy reality show. It is, Jennifer. That's the whole thing to understand. It's theatre. You get to choose between tyrants, between puppets, billionaire or multi-millionaire puppets. Have one of them. Fucking try on one of them for size, says the financial elite, and we don't give a fuck. In fact, as the Irish say, we don't give a fiddler's fuck which one of them you choose. We don't care. And it's the same here. This is why I vote for Labour, I'd vote for the Tories. It doesn't matter a damn. People need to wake up to it. Bloomberg for president. Come on, people. Hey? Come on. Democracy, really? Same everywhere. What else have we got for you? Oh, my vegan friends, my vegan friends. And Ben, by the way, in the US, in Australia, we'll get him back on again soon. Really enjoyed chatting with Ben, the animal rights activist, top man. He's going to love this, is Ben. Oh, he's going to love this. Apparently, if you are vegan, you're better in the sack. You are a dynamite. You are a monster in the sack, apparently. Look at that sexy photograph by the Mail there. You don't need to... Hang on. I'm fed up of unhiding your comments, by the way. Stop fucking swearing. Because when you swear on the chat, they just hide your comments. John Parsons should be driving a nail into a fucking piece of wood somewhere. But he's watching this morning. Good morning, John. Imagine what dit, John. Says anyone can become US president, can't they? Well, that's it, you see. The founding fathers had the idea that people would come to Congress, come to the Senate, and spend a couple of years there. And then they would go back to the land. And they would farm the land. That was the idea. Career politicians was anathema, was a horrific thought way back when. They wouldn't have entertained it, the notion. You know, Farmer John goes to fucking Washington, spends a couple of years there, represents his people, then he goes back to the land and somebody else does it. Again, I'm being very basic, but that's the thing, you know. That's the way it was, right? I'm trying to be better with the comments then. And to be honest with you, I'm really enjoying this new little laptop. I'm loving it. Finding it easier now to negotiate my way around things, yeah. Good morning, Charlie girl. Which rich elitist bastard are you going to vote for, Corbyn or Johnson? Indeed. Hi to Mary Burke. How you doing, Mary Burke? Moira de Burke. Australia. Mary says it's not just their money, Richie, that's the issue, as much as how they illegally got it. Yes, every one of the Democrats running are criminals trying to stay out of prison, says Moira. How you doing, Moira? Lovely. And Pierre says, why don't the billionaires just fuck to their islands and leave politics? Indeed. Lovely. Somebody mentioned Bolivia there. Emu Cat. Meanwhile, they fly Bolivia's gold out of the country to the US. That's right, Emu Cat. We're seeing CIA coups in Bolivia, in Colombia, attempted in Venezuela. 'Twas ever thus. It's always been the way. Where's Comrade Corbyn now when you need him? Because Comrade Corbyn might have about 2.5 weeks left in the spotlight. Because if he gets the fucking hammering in the election that he might get, but he might not. I'm not calling this one. I've no idea how it's going to go, to be honest. But if he gets an absolute shellacking, he's gone. forever. You'll never see him again. God, he's wasted the last few years when he could have been talking about Palestine. Yeah. And Venezuela. Comrade Corbyn. This made me... I shouldn't laugh at this. I went to see The Doors in the cinema many moons ago. What year was it? Don't look it up, you lazy bastards. What year was it? What year was The Doors with Val Kilmer? Was it 91, was it? 91? Went to see The Doors, and I knew that every pretentious arsehole in the cinema would be smoking a spliff watching it, and they were. I looked around at them, absolutely aghast at the clichédness of them. I just make up words as I go along today. Pathetic, smoking spliffs watching Val. Val Kilmer done a cracking job as Jim Morrison in that film. The film was fucking awful. Oliver Stone, was it? Dreadful movie. But he was good. All these idiots say smoking spliffs. So I laughed my hairy old backside off when I saw this in the news yesterday. Gang film pulled from cinemas after mass brawl. There's a new film... Excuse me. There's a new film out about gangs. Hang on now. I do realise that I've got to keep talking because this will be on podcast later on. And the podcasty people will be saying, Richie, there's a lot of silence on the podcast. The film is called Frozen 2. No, it's not Frozen 2. Fucking Frozen 2, huh? So the Star City in Birmingham has a film on called Blue Story about gangs. And a load of gangs showed up with machetes, including 14-year-olds waving machetes around at one another. There was like 100 people involved in the fucking brawl until the police came in. I just thought that was mildly amusing. Thankfully, there were no serious injuries. And that's good. Because we shouldn't laugh at violence when people get hurt. Just made me giggle, that. Just made me giggle. Do you know the way I complain all the time about women and gays and minorities? Because I'm a big ignorant, baldy, bollocks, conservative, right-wing gammon, of course. And I hate everybody that doesn't look like me. If you're not white working class, if you're white working class, you're a soul to the earth. If you're not, you're a threat to me. Anyway, that made me laugh, that story yesterday. Did I lose track of the vegan story, did I? Did I half get through the vegan story and then just fucking give up on it? I think I did. I'm very distracted this morning. I got halfway through the vegan story, didn't I? And then, did I? Did I give up on it, did I? I think I gave up on it. I shouldn't have given up on it, though. Because it's a good story. That you go longer in the sack if you're a vegan. And I don't know how they do these fucking surveys, to be honest. But apparently, if you cut meat out of your diet, you'll wake up 3 or 4 times in the night looking for sex. Who needs that? But that's what they say in the article. Your sex drive will go on through the night. There's the story anyway. Gives you an idea of the survey, who did it, why they did it, and the conclusions that you'll be more amorous. You'll be more amorous if you're on the old vegan options rather than eating meat. I had something to say about that. It's gone out of my head anyway. Probably wasn't going to be funny anyway. What else have we got there for you then? Couple of funny stories and a serious story. Yes, I'm always giving out about women and blacks and Asians and gays. But I'm not actually. I never do. But just pretend that I do for the sake of this story. But one of the things I have complained about is the emasculation of men. And we hear a lot about women-only spaces, don't we, in the news? Which is fine. But we're going to have to start talking about men-only spaces. Because Men have got nothing left for themselves anymore. There's nothing now, no pursuit, no fucking hobby that is just for the lads. For the lads. There's nothing for the lads. There's nothing left for the lads, right? We used to have football. No, women have taken that now. You've got women at games now, screaming shrilly at players and making stupid comments that make no sense to the game whatsoever. Let me turn down this fucking thing. So women have got involved in the football, haven't they? Eh? They've gotten involved in the fucking rugby as well. Can't go to the rugby now because you have the women, right? There's so many other things that women are taking over. Things that we used to do by ourselves, but we can't. We've got to include women now. And it's just going from bad to worse. Because now, you can't even get a little bit of tackle and a bit of bait. Rock down to your local pond to get away from your woman. Put a little bit of bait on the hook. Cast your fly, if you're fly fishing, into the water and just forget about her and the kids and everything else. No, because women are now wading into the angler's world as well. Why don't women just fuck off and leave us alone? Is there anything that we can have for ourselves that you're not going to fucking poison with your presence? Football, we left that one go. Rugby, we left that one go. Everything else we left go. Into the angling world come women now. Look at that, look. It's all about the Instagram followers, apparently, according to this in the Times this morning. Jesus wept, huh? While I do jest somewhat, there is an element of truth in it. You know, can we have anything for ourselves? Here's a fairly creepy story in the Telegraph about Satanism in the New Forest. It's not the first time we've heard of animals being ritualistically fucking disemboweled and stuff, and pentagrams being carved or drawn on the carcasses of animals. But it's an interesting one in the Telegraph today, because we know that Satanism is real, don't we, you and me? We do. The establishment, officialdom, will tell you that Satanism was one of the greatest scare hoaxes of all time. They will say it doesn't exist. They will talk about false memory syndrome. Of course, they're lying. Satanism is real, and it is practiced by the elite of the elites. The most elite of the most elite practice it. We know this. All the evidence is there. Apparently, it's happening in the New Forest quite regularly of late. It's in the Telegraph today, and it's an interesting one. Satanism is real, folks, and I'm going to try and do something on that this week, because it's been a while since we delved into it. It's not the sexiest subject to be talking about, but there you are. What are we? We're coming up for 10 minutes past 10, so that's nearly it for this morning then. Nearly. Just bear in mind, say it for me. Say it for me. If you don't say it for me, I won't say it myself. The radio show will be live at 4 o'clock today. 4 people. Don't be crying now when you tune in at 5 and it's nearly over. 4, because I've got an engagement. Something that's been on the books for ages. This evening, which I need to attend. So rather than take some time off, which I won't, because I don't like taking time off, and because we missed a couple of days last week because of the tech issues, there will be a proper Richie Allen radio show today, but it begins at 4. Okay. Marvellous. John, I mentioned John a couple of times, John Roherty. Crazy animal sacrifices, John says, I keep my cats indoors on Halloween. Is that serious, John? Are there people threatening pets around Halloween or threatening pets? Are there people killing pets around Halloween time? Fucking hell, if that's going on. I've no reason to doubt you if you say it is going on. What sort of fucking scum, you know? What have I done there? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm getting used to this new computer. 26 says it could be some psychopathic goth kids. That's true enough, my friend. There's no proof that it's a group of Satanists, as of yet anyway. I should make that clear. But yeah, I should make that clear. There's no proof, but I will say that I do believe that Satanism, animal and human sacrifice, is real, and it does go on. But I'm going to annoy some people now, including some friends of mine, but they don't mind. It didn't go on in Hampstead. It didn't. I'm telling you. Lovely. Charlie Girl says, you used to have the pub, now we've infiltrated that too. No, it's a nice thing to be in the pub with your other half, with your fella or your missus. But there is, look, for all my bullshitting, there is a serious aspect to, you know, blokes being blokes. You know, blokes have to be blokes at times. You know, the testosterone does have to come out at times. I don't mean Saturday night's all right for fighting. You know, I've never been one to go out, get pissed and have a fight, even when I was younger. I never did that. But you have to be... It's nice to be amongst blokes when you can let your fucking guard down and you can chat about anything and say whatever you fucking want to say and be blokey. So when I saw that story about the anglers this morning, I just thought, listen, I'm a fucking real trade... I'm a genuine socialist. There's very few of us left in the world, and a trade unionist. I believe that people should do whatever they want to do, so long as they don't harm anybody else. So if women want to go fucking angling, fair enough, but Jesus Christ, you know. Yeah. This is interesting. We'll do one last one. We're being played against one another, aren't we? People, we're being divided and we are being subdivided so that we will kill one another. Sometimes literally, sometimes metaphorically. So that we will fight one another and not the hidden hand, as we call it. We're just being divided and subdivided again. It's like Itchy and Scratchy. Do you remember? I often mention Itchy and Scratchy. When, in one of the episodes, the cat, which is Itchy, right? Or is the cat Scratchy? I can never remember. The cat chops the mouse up. But then the two halves of the mouse become two mice. So then he chops them into 4. And then it becomes 8. And chops 8, which becomes 16 and 32 and so on. So all of a sudden the cat is faced by a legion of mice. It's a very funny cartoon on The Simpsons. Millions all of a sudden. That's what the system is doing to us. We're dividing. See, when I joke earlier on about the gays and the bisexuals, I also do that to try and make a point. We are one. We might not be the same, but we are one. As a formerly great Irishman once sang, when he was truly great. We are one, but we're not the same. But the most important part of that is we are one. Trans, gay, straight, boy, whatever. Birth, gender, whatever you think you are, we are one. And it is the job of the elite and the pillars of the elite, the media, of course, the authorities, to convince us more and more and more that we're not one. We're not one. They want to say we're not one, but you are the same. Do you get it? Dividing us. We look for ways to divide ourselves. And of course, forced migration onto societies, of course, is one of the ways they do it. And we're not clever enough to, or maybe we are clever enough, but we're lazy. We're not, maybe we don't have the courage, maybe, to not fall out with the newly arrived migrants that are putting a massive pressure on services locally and all the rest of it. We don't see them as people anymore. We see them as the enemy, when really we should see them as people, but also as a symptom of the overall problem. But we don't. And you see a perfect example of this in Norway. RT covering the story there. There was an anti-Islam rally in Kristiansand last week, and it descended into chaos with a young Norwegian bloke burning the Quran. By the way, the Quran is a book, just like the Bible. Even if I was religious, I wouldn't be getting offended at somebody burning a book. It's just a few pages bound together. You know, it's no big deal really. It's a fucking book with words in it. However sacred you might think the words are. But it's just another amazing example of how we are being conditioned. Killing one another over religious differences. Madness, isn't it? It's madness. I'm going to say no more about that because I've said enough about it over the years. Crazy. The guy who was burning the Quran, he's been driven into a frenzy, of course, by his media. Of course, by his own tendency to kind of surround himself online with people who think like him and who speak like him. This is another wonderful thing that social media does. Not exposing yourself to other people and other ideas. And because if you did, you might come to the conclusion, listen, the system is fucking us all. It's not especially fucking white people. It's not especially fucking black people. It's fucking every one of us. But it is designed, the system, it's wonderful, to make each of the identity groups think that they are getting it in the arse harder than everybody else. That's the thing of beauty, that, isn't it? Each little identity group. Oh, we're the most oppressed. We're the most vilified. We're the most under pressure. No, we're all getting it. People. We're one, but we're not the same. But we are one. And the establishment and the elite knows that. And if we ever figure that out, that we are one, it is us against them. It's a wonderful meme of all the pieces on the chessboard surrounding the king. People ever figure that out, but they can't because it's easier to succumb to identity politics. Well, as an Irishman, this is what I think about the English. No. Fuck off. As an Irishman. Yes, I am an Irishman. But what difference does that make? As a person, this is what I think. Anyway, I'm fucking prattling on here. 4 o'clock. Today, 4 o'clock. Okay, for the radio show. This has gone swimmingly this morning. It might be shit, and of course it is. But at least there's been no dropout. Yeah. Massive attacks. But I won't talk about them. Because if I do talk about them, I'll be as bad as the truth or industrial complex heroes who are constantly bleating on about how they are being attacked when they're not really. But we had some massive interference last week, this radio show, but I'm never going to speak about it. But you just did, you big baldy gammon bollocks. Maybe I did, maybe I planted a seed. But yeah, for the moment, it's not too bad. We're looking good. Thanks to everybody who sent a live chat message. If I didn't read your comment out, it wasn't because I was discriminating against you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you at 4 o'clock on the radio show. Bye for now.